All right, so we're going to talk about what the next 10 years hold for Amazon, and I'm going to make some predictions, and some of them are concrete, some of them are not, and we'll see how they go. Okay, cool. So a little bit about me. I spoke before Congress. I spoke to Tucker Carlson. I founded a legal tech business with my brother, which I sold this year. Someone actually came up to me and told me that that legal tech business wrote them a check for $200,000. I'm really proud of that. And what qualifies me to predict the next 10 years of Amazon? Hey, MDS right there. There are a lot of people who are smarter than me, who have better businesses than me, that you'll see in the next slide. But I feel like I'm decently good at predicting the future of Amazon and e-commerce. One of my best calls was at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, when everyone was really excited about the aggregators and Thrasio. I had this contrarian viewpoint that it wasn't going to work. And I thought that they were all going to blow up, and I said so. And that ended up more or less being the case. So I'm proud of that. I'm going to press this button hard enough to get me the next slide. But at the same time, like, our business is struggling a little bit right now, and I don't know, I just feel like I should be real about that. So, you can take everything I say with a grain of salt. Okay, so let's actually get into this. Let's actually try to predict the future of Amazon here. Okay, so the first general topic is Amazon management. It works. All right. You've been clicking. Ah, okay. That explains it. I don't even know why that's so funny, but all right. I'm a huge fuck up, guys. All right. I broke it. Okay, so we're going to talk about Amazon management and operations and what that means over the next 10 years. All right, so we have a new guy in charge, Andy Jassy. And my prediction is he is focused on financials, data, and AI. And this is a huge departure from my main man, Jeff Bezos, okay? So he's forcing people to come back to the office. Some people have speculated that the reason for that is so that they can cut the headcount at Amazon to improve financials. My prediction is they will try to keep at least the appearance of US sellers at about 50% of the market, because you can't have an Amazon where 60% of the sellers are Chinese. The optics of that are quite poor. Fewer long-term bets, right? Fewer Kindle Fire phones, fewer crazy innovations, more of a focus on profitability. They're going to increase fees until they can't anymore, all right? I think a lot of us have kind of felt that, particularly since April 2024. Just a constant barrage of new fees. I had no idea there were going to be 50 Amazon people in the audience here. I might have to duck through the rest of this presentation. And then finally, Jassy, he went to Harvard Business School, and a lot of this thinking is consistent with going to business school, I would say. He's an AWS guy, so he's focused on data. And so they're also going to make a big push towards Rufus, which is their AI assistant, which I'll get into a little bit more later. It works. Okay. So if you've ever read a shareholder letter from Amazon from Jeff Bezos, it always started with or maybe it ended with, it's always day one at Amazon. And the idea is that he was trying to make Amazon to keep it scrappy and kind of small, even though it was a massively successful company. I think it's day 2 already right now, and we're possibly headed for day 3. So some examples. Over the past 3 years, this conversation obviously focuses on the Amazon retail side of the business. Maybe AWS is doing a little bit better. So in the past 3 years, I think, we've actually had 3 heads of Amazon retail. So Wilkie, gone. Dave Clark, gone. And Doug Harrington, I'm not even sure if that man exists, but he's somewhere, and I don't know how well he's doing. Some more examples of kind of day 2 at Amazon. Do you guys know about SIPP, Ship-in Product Packaging? Did you guys decertify your products? We just decertified our products so they wouldn't be part of this program, but they were shipping all of our products in plastic bags anyway for months and months and months, lots and lots of orders, costed us a ton of money. Maybe that's why I'll blame our sales being down. I don't know. Do you guys see that email where in the middle, I think, of July, when they were like, if you're going to split your shipment 5 ways, you have to have 5 cases? Did anyone see that? Yeah. Okay, what was that about? They didn't realize that if you had 1 case, that they had to split it all across the rest of the country. So they were massively losing money, not realizing that you needed to have 5 cases in order to effectively split things 5 ways. You know, we were in Texas, we shipped 1 case to New York, and then they were breaking that down, and they were splitting it 5 ways themselves. Huge cost of money, shows kind of like a lack of logistics expertise. A lot of great people have left the company. Okay, next one. Man, this is brutal. All right. Amazon warehouse distribution. It's a trap. All right, so why do I think it's a trap? It's a trap because Amazon is a little bit like a crack dealer. Your first hit is always free, and then the subsequent hits of the crack cocaine always tend to be more expensive, and you're kind of addicted. That's the first reason. That's a normal pattern. I think you guys are Amazon sellers. You get that. The other reason is if you actually just look at the economics of it, they don't make sense. So if you take like a container and you say, all right, I'm going to send in 25 by 25 by 25 inch boxes into Amazon, and AWD is going to do its thing with the auto replenishments or whatever. It ends up coming out to about $4,800. And they're doing all sorts of stuff. They're unloading the container, they're building pallets, they're storing it, they're taking it apart, they're doing all that. It costs about $6,000 to move a full truckload, which is less than that full container from New York to LA. So the economics of this just do not make sense. I decided not to participate in the program because I'm not gonna shut down our warehouse for them, for us to put our inventory into AWD and then they're just gonna crank up fees on it. To me, it's scary. So my prediction is that Amazon warehouse distribution is also a trap, and then we also heard from 2 great people previously who are smarter than I am about how important it is to sell off of Amazon, and AWD doesn't necessarily help you do that. Do you guys know about the shipping from Chinese warehouse things, the thing that Amazon is doing in order to kind of compete with Temu, who is here? Hello, Temu. It's not going to work. It's not going to work for a couple of reasons. One, they have been training all of us to kind of focus on 1 and 2 day shipping. How are they going to provide this other product? Is there going to be a separate buy box or something like that with 5 to 7 day shipping? It doesn't make any sense. And then the other thing is I don't think Amazon can actually compete with Temu. Okay, so within Chinese business, startup culture, whatever, they have the 996. So they work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. Temu, I'm looking at some Chinese people in the audience. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys work really hard. All right, and I think actually Temu and some of these e-commerce marketplaces are going to beat Amazon at this. It gets a little complicated, maybe with government and politics, but I don't think this shipping from Chinese warehouses thing is going to work for Amazon. All right, next general topic, competitive landscape. Amazon competitors are here and more are coming. Temu is real. Shein, whatever it is real. Depending on what your product category is, TikTok is real. You can sell quite a bit of product on there. And then there are all sorts of innovations that are coming down the pipe. E-commerce innovation is not over, all right? Live shopping is real, and it's more advanced in China than it is in the United States. So that's an innovation. And I think search is going to change completely, right? The whole idea of just typing in a search and then you get a bunch of different products or whatever, that's going to change. It'll become more conversational, and so that's another opportunity for e-commerce innovation. Amazon is actually facing more competition now than ever, I would say. So I think the last prediction is that no, I got it wrong. All right, never mind. So China Incorporated is going to keep getting better and better. Okay, so that graph on the far left, that is, it's my understanding, those are legit Chinese patents. Okay, so those are patents that are not just being applied for the Chinese domestic marketplace. Those are global patents. So China is actually becoming a force for innovation in the world. Okay, that's a real thing. You can look at DJI's success. China, obviously they copied it from SpaceX, but China also has reusable rockets. It's pretty impressive, folding phones. And the other thing that's really frightening in a way is that more engineers in the STEM fields are being graduated in China. Not more, but a comparable number are being graduated in China versus the entire rest of the world. That graph is a little bit misleading. But if you add up like the US, Russia, and India, it roughly equals China. So there are a lot of STEM graduates that are coming online, and these are smart people who we're going to be competing with kind of as sellers in the United States. And then these people are also going to work for companies like Temu, Shein, and all whatever new startups come up. So China Inc. is going to keep getting better and better. That's my prediction. I don't know why that got blocked out, whatever. I do now, looking at it. Follow me for more Photoshop tips. All right, so I get the Innovation Award for explaining layers. All right, so it's supposed to say Walmart, Target, and eBay won't keep getting better. If you guys have been selling on Walmart and Amazon, if you follow things like, anytime Amazon launches a new program, 6 months later, Walmart's like, oh, we do that too. And so like the idea is like if Amazon ever wanted to beat Walmart at e-commerce, they would just be like, hey guys, we're going to jump off a bridge. And then Walmart's like, all right, we got this. We're coming out with our bridge jumping platform. Yeah, so I'm just not optimistic about it. Okay, so e-commerce search is going to die. This is what I was talking about earlier. I think it's going to become some sort of conversational thing with AI. I don't really know how it's going to work. Someone is going to figure that out better than I do. I really like Perplexity. It's really great. It's really great for researching. All the stuff that Ben and Sean were talking about was smart too. ChatGPT is good for other stuff as well. Okay, Amazon and government. So I got deposed as a witness in the Amazon versus the FTC versus the Amazon case for 16 hours. So I know a little bit about this. It was a rather painful experience. So the FTC versus Amazon case, there are a lot of different claims, and it's complicated. But like the two main ones that I'm going to discuss are one, seller fulfilled prime. They're basically like it's unfair, it's not being done right, whatever. And then the second one is the pricing policy. So if you sell your products for less off of Amazon than you do on Amazon, then your listings on Amazon will go down. And the FTC is more or less arguing that that is bad. So the reason why I think Amazon is going to lose that case is actually because of Temu. Amazon really effed up, okay? Amazon a couple of months ago was like, all right, guys, if you sell your products for less on Target and Walmart, your listings are going to go down. But not Temu. I don't know what the reasoning for this. Maybe it's because there were lots of like counterfeiting or there's like different shipping speeds or whatever. So you can sell your products for less on Temu than Amazon. And then Temu rolled out the we're not going to charge sellers any fees thing. So now everyone who's selling on Amazon and selling on Temu, the products are actually cheaper on Temu. And that's the only place where they're cheaper than Amazon. And so that looks really bad because the one place where Amazon is saying you can't sell cheaper, all the products are cheaper. So that's a real problem for them in their case. And and just generally, I think that the government is going to be kind of a double-edged sword for Amazon. In some ways, it can help Amazon. In other ways, it can hurt them. It depends. Prime growth is over. People who have been selling on Amazon since 2014, 2015, 2016, it was so much easier then. Prime subscribers were growing much faster back then than they are today. I mean, probably Prime growth is probably just growing as fast as population is. We've seen like a general rise in fraud in America. One of the main problems with that when it comes to us being Amazon sellers is we face the brunt of that more than Amazon does. Amazon, we fund that refund, we fund that return. People who are committing fraud, they still click sponsored ads. Amazon still gets his 15% depending on how things go. So Amazon actually has a lower incentive. I'm not saying that they would do this, not saying that they would encourage fraud, but they have a lower incentive to address fraud on the platform than sellers do. But sellers don't have control over the platform, which is a problem. So we're going to see fraud rise. U.S. consumerism is probably unsustainable. At some point, that probably has to change, but there's no telling when. So what do we do? Assuming I'm right with these crazy predictions, probably wrong, but what do we do? So political options. So there are some things that the government can actually do to help. The Harris administration, they rolled out with some stuff in terms of the $800 de minimis. That would probably help U.S. sellers. It'd be great if we had reciprocity, when it comes to selling in kind of Europe, right? So if you want to sell in Europe, you actually have to have a responsible person. They don't make it super easy. Whereas Europeans, when they sell in the United States, they don't need a responsible person. If you want to sell in China, you actually have to form a company in China. Chinese, if they want to sell in the United States, they don't need to form a company. We should have reciprocity. It should be symmetrical. It should be as easy for us to sell in their countries as it is for them to sell in ours. The tariffs actually, even if you have your factories in China, it probably is somewhat helpful to have tariffs. Assuming that enforcement of these tariffs is good, because it'll probably be relatively easier for US sellers to purchase in countries like Vietnam and Indonesia than it will be for Chinese sellers to do that. Chinese sellers get to work with Chinese factories. That's a huge advantage. Requiring foreign sellers to file a US tax return would be a dream as well. So how can we get government to help? Someone needs to step up. And someone here, like someone really needs to step up and form a legit trade organization that can be used to lobby. It really needs to happen. There's like billions of dollars in sales in this room. Why is there no trade organization? It makes no sense. Someone needs to step up and do it. You can lobby to your various congresswomen or congressmen. And finally, Sometimes I see people, they go onto social media and they talk about their issues, and I don't really feel like they do it particularly effectively. Someone will do like a tweet and they'll get like 10 other people to retweet it or something like that. If you want to effectively communicate the issues that you have as a seller on Amazon, what you really need to do is you need to like break out the videos, you need to break out the stories, you need to use pictures and stuff like that. You need to have a successful social media post that actually gets some play beyond just having your fellow 10 Amazon sellers retweet and reply or something like that. Top right corner, it's a panda. Sell on the Chinese marketplaces. That's probably a decent way to diversify your sales off of Amazon if you're a marketplace seller. Go international, bottom left corner. Depending on what your product vertical is, you can probably make a bunch of revenue selling wholesale. And there are people more qualified than I am to talk about this, but having your own independent sales channel like Shopify is super helpful as well. I think you should diversify your logistics off of Amazon. You can't be relying 100% on Amazon, FBA, AWD, AGL, Amazon shipping. You have to have some other way to ship to customers. You cannot be 100% reliant on them. It's a general good business practice, and if it truly is day 2 progressing towards day 3, you don't want to be tied to that. That's a warehouse I built for whatever it's worth. Another way to compete over the next 10 years, if China Inc. is rising, China is extremely good at 1 to N innovation. So, taking that electric car, scaling it up. BYD is doing amazing things globally. China has actually taken over the electric vehicle market. We may not know about it so much in the United States because there are very high tariffs on Chinese cars, but globally, China is just chopping up that market. That's a 1 to N innovation. Something like Starlink is a 0 to 1 innovation. That's like a completely mind-blowing innovation. Who could have ever thought that you would shoot satellites up into space and then beam the internet down to random locations? Americans in general are like kind of stronger at that. And so if you want to be successful over the next 10 years, you got to focus on that kind of stuff because China is really going to get good at the kind of 1 to N innovations. And then once you have those innovations, you have to protect it with intellectual property. I don't actually own the company anymore that does the intellectual property services, so I don't have any kind of incentive to tell you about this. It's just true. Okay, you have to have trademarks, you have to have copyrights, you need to protect them. Unfortunately, you have to get a sense of how the US legal system works. Patents are also enormously helpful. They restrict competition, they keep your, in a legal way, and they keep your prices high, and that's how profits come to be. That's it. Hopefully we'll do some questions. If you want to support me and actually my great team, we make this educational toy for both kids and adults who like building toys called Brain Flakes. We make some of the most beautiful plush animals. That's Morgan the manatee. You can follow me on X. I'm unhinged as I am right now on X, maybe like 3 times as bad over there. If you just want, yeah. If you just want like Amazon stuff, you can follow me on LinkedIn. And the company that I formerly owned, Edison, you can check that out. And that's it. Maybe I could just get hit with some hardball questions.
Hardball questions. Give it up for Molson, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. We're going to take some questions. Brandon, what do you got?
Yeah, so you talk about all the competition coming into the space from Shein, Temu, all these other players. Do you think there's a chance fees could go down as they're facing these threats to kind of try to keep sellers and keep prices low?
Yeah, so long as the government doesn't like ban TikTok or something like that, fees can come down. And I believe people in the clothing space know this better than I do. Amazon actually reduced its fees for apparel, did it not? And why did it do that? Perhaps because of Shein coming into the market. So actually the competition from China, at least on the e-commerce marketplace side, is something that we should be embracing because it puts pressure on Amazon to reduce their fees.
Let's take a few from the audience. Who has a question for Molson? Go ahead. We got one right over there in the middle. Right there. He's got a mic for you. 1 second. There we go.
You briefly touched on the de minimis threshold issue. Can you say more about that and why Amazon wouldn't just lobby to shut that down and that would kill most of their competitors?
All right, so the de minimis threshold is that if you import $800 or less into the United States, you do not pay import duties or import tariffs. This is one of the ways that Temu and Shein have such cheap products, because instead of one of us bringing in a large quantity of goods that exceeds $800 and paying those duties and tariffs, which contribute to our product costs, a single person just like buys a dress and it's under $800, and so there are no tariffs and duties. And so, I mean, it would be probably enormously helpful for Amazon if they got rid of that de minimis thing, because there isn't the same kind of like mechanism to do that under $800 import on Amazon as there is on Shein and the other platforms. And so if they got rid of the de minimis exemption, it would help all of us, particularly if you're selling dutied and tariff goods, because there'd be less of an incentive to buy those products on Shein and the other Chinese marketplaces. I think that...
Molson, you are a Twitter celebrity in a way. I think Elon follows you, maybe. And what is something that you haven't shared publicly that is, I don't know, something new for you or something upcoming? And I know there's a million things. You're thinking really hard right now.
I'm like, it's like a montage of like really disturbing thoughts. Things that I haven't shared publicly?
Haven't shared publicly.
All right, so...
Do you see what he shares publicly?
yeah, dude, bro, like... I'm in a gay relationship with Jared and have been for multiple years. I don't really know.
We weren't supposed to say anything.
I mean, a lot of what was in this presentation, I saved it for the event. And I think, I mean, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but that point about Temu and the FTC, that's a really big deal. And I don't think Amazon will be broken up. It makes no sense. But I do think that, in like 2039, when this case finally gets resolved by the Supreme Court or whatever, it'll happen sooner than that, but it's far in the future. I think Amazon will they'll kind of experience something like Microsoft did after they kind of lost their case, and they're going to be like, what do we do? We lost this case. How do we operate? You can't operate as fast if you're worried about pending litigation. And up until this point, Amazon's we always win type thing, and I don't think they will.
Last question, unless someone else has you have one more question over there, and before we get to that, just you tweet all the time, and I was wondering if you could give any tips to the crowd on, I think something that you went viral for recently.
No, bro.
You went under con, which was pretty crazy, but either why did that go viral, or what do you think? It looks like questions seem to be going more viral. What's working for you these days?
So I'm hoping to win the AMZ Innovate Award for telling you about how I got 38 million views for getting a urinary tract infection. And then tweeting about that and having 38 million people think that I'm a gay man on the down low. Not on the down low anymore. Thank you, Jared. I mean, look, I was talking to Sean, right? And Sean and I both have a lot of followers. And I mean, we were our Twitter mastermind behind the scenes where we talk about how to game the Twitter algorithm was just yo, just post. Like, and that's like honestly just kind of what I do. I just post. I don't think, I like have like a couple of filters, a couple of like no-go zones where, believe it or not, where I don't go on Twitter. But like in general, if you just post and if you enjoy it, you'll build things, you'll build a following. But then, you know, in that presentation, right, I said like use pictures, like tell a story with video. On pretty much every social media platform, video hits harder than everything else. So like, you know, do that. If you have a story to tell, if you need to get eyeballs on it, don't just like write a text blob. Like do a video, get in front of the camera and like show emotion and stuff like that.
Amazing. One question over there.
What, if anything, would you do to start the lobbying organization that you discussed? You said somebody needs to start it. What would you do if you were going to start it?
Yeah, I mean, someone just needs to step up. Someone who's got like a good heart, who's into it, who loves people, who's in it for the right reasons, just needs to start that organization. And maybe they need to start soliciting donations or whatever. But like, you just got to get people together. I mean, it could just almost be an email list. And, you know, you go to politicians or whatever, and you're like, I represent like $1 billion worth of sales on Amazon or D2C sellers. And like, you know, there are 10,000 of them in your district. And like, you'll have their attention. So someone just needs to step up and just do it. Because we like actually really need a voice here. And it's crazy that we're this many years into the game and we haven't really like gotten that.
One more question. Yes, go ahead, Constantine.
It seems that Amazon has conflicting departments.
Mm-hmm.
Where one wants to attract sellers and the other one takes you out
in the back of the field, shoots you in the back, in the head. And it seems like the things they're saying that are not negative for Amazon. If Amazon coherently and holistically address these issues, as a marketplace, it would be a better place. So who is it in Amazon that would listen to these things? Because whatever is good for sellers, ultimately and long term, and according to the original Amazon to be the world's most customer-friendly company, somebody has to take it all in. And because whenever we speak to Amazon, it's all different departments, and they all have their own KPIs, and they're not coherent. Do you think there's a single source of information or decision-making that we can talk to?
No. I think that, I mean, like, obviously, if you're able to communicate with Andy Jassy and if you can get his attention, or Dharmesh, or the legal team, or, you know, the level below Andy Jassy, that's hugely important. But I think you're right. I mean, there are lots of competing teams within Amazon, kind of like there are lots of competing teams within the US government, kind of like my employees probably like compete a little bit sometimes, and that's just the nature of human organizations. I can tell you 100% that if you tell your story publicly, that will get a lot of attention with them. I remember someone once telling me that every time there was a news article that didn't go well for them, they like did like a post-mortem on it, trying to figure out how that wouldn't happen in the future. And so the Amazon people, I mean, I think this is open information. They tell you that they are monitoring social media. And so like if you, regardless of whether or not you at the executives, if you get a story out there that has legs on social media, it's going to get attention. And you might get an email out of the blue being like, this is how to solve your problem. But yeah, I don't, you know, you just got to get your story out there and talk to the people who've got the power, and that's how you solve problems that are hard to solve.
All right, thank you, Molson. And now we're going to take a 30, 40-minute break. We have snacks and lots of good food out there. We're going to have the breakout sessions right afterwards, and we're going to reset the room. So thank you, Molson. Thank you so much.